Technology, man.
Technology. It's a frustrating thing. Thanks everybody for coming on. I really do appreciate you again. I'm Dr. Kenyatta Goins, and this is TGRI, our Team Goins Realty Investments, and we've got a great program tonight. We have Wulf and Alex here from Sovereign Assets, and they are going to bring the heat. I'm just going to go quickly through our little thing here, tell you about our team. Our goals are to help 100 families and to help 100 agents to become better and do better in the field of real estate excellence. And how we do this is we are a trusted source. We're going to become listing specialists. You're going to be involved with the community. We're going to be doing community events all over the place. We just started our first one this week on Tuesday with Torre and myself, and that was great. And we're going to give you world-class training, and we're just going to strictly be agent focused on helping you become the best agent you can be. And since Torre is on here, he can say that this one here, this is his deal. Go ahead, Torre.
Yeah, I'll quickly talk to it. I am driving at the time, so I can't really look at the slides, but
okay. Well, our value-based model is basically we're going to make a centralized program to streamline everything for you, give you virtual training libraries, optimize our website and CRMs for you, so you have leads generation programs in there. We're going to teach you how to be technology specialists. And we have trained we have TCs, so our transaction coordinators are here to help service you. Our agent development program, we do a mentorship program and then give you training one-on-one where you partner up with myself or someone else. I do the mentoring. We give you live transaction training. We give you a transaction playbook. We have specialized tactics about that. We're going to do cross training with you. And we're going to give you scripts and tools and all sorts of things, advertisement stuff, you name it. We have it already developed for you. Business development is business coaching, agent attraction strategies, leadership opportunities, and $1 million network set up that's just going to blow your mind. Professional networking as well. Torre and I just set up another partnership this afternoon that's going to really expand and really help your business in the long run. They're in 40 states, so wherever you're at right now, Team Goins, we're going to be able to help assist you there as well. So one of our teachers, which she's not on the call tonight, is Cinnamon Scott. She's our agent development personnel to help give you the success mindset. She is a PhD in psychology, and she knows how to do life coaching, personal coaching, or whatever you need. She has it. Torre is our in-house specialist and trainer on market updates and market analysis. And you'll hear from Torre later on in the course of the slideshow today. Then we have Dawn Verdon. Amazing lady. She takes care of all of our events, our communication with you. She's our business development director, and she'll be directly tied to you and sending you out emails, updates, and everything about TGRI. Kimber Howard, a fabulous young lady, our chief administrative officer. She trains all of our TCs and takes care of all of our legal and inner office particulars. It keeps us going and on a straight path and keeps us in line. She's the whip cracker. So don't get out of line or else Kimber will be on your back. And then after the slideshow from Wulf and Alex, then we'll have a question and answer period. So please hold your questions unless they open the floor up to you. Okay? And that is it for now. And I'm going to turn it over. You guys already have permission to share your screen.
All righty, guys. Thank you so much for your guys' time on this. We really appreciate it. Let me pull this up for you guys. We got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. And this time, I mean, for the ones that you guys were on the other call, today we're actually going to be diving in a little bit more in depth with it. Can you guys see the presentation?
I don't see it.
Yes.
Yes, I see it. Looks great.
Up or so you can see it.
Yep, it's good.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Go ahead, Alex.
All right, guys. So yeah, so as Wolf was saying, for those of you that were on the previous call, this is going to just kind of go more in depth over some of the different things we're talking about, some of the strategies, you know, how to pay less in taxes and things to that nature. So for those of you that don't know, me and Wolf, we've been in the industry for a little over 10 years combined. Okay. So we have about 10 years of combined knowledge in this, and we've been in the financial services industry, just kind of grinding and going and, you know, trying to take over all of Arizona, just like you guys, right? So we're very excited to be here and to go ahead and go more into detail on these things so that you guys can use this knowledge personally and to help develop your business and give to your clients as well. Okay. So today's agenda, right? Some of the things we're going to be talking about. What is a secured compounded account, also known as a 7702 plan? That's just the tax code for it. Okay. We're going to talk about the differences between a 401k and that secured compounded account, how individuals and business owners can use those accounts. Then what is positive arbitrage, how you can use that, and then some illustrations, examples, and at the end, Q&A. So last call, we didn't really have too much time for those questions and answers. Thank you guys for filling out those feedback cards. We really do appreciate it. So this time we can open it up a little bit more at the end, answer some more questions, and we'll still send out another feedback sheet at the end, okay?
I think we have the wrong
What?
representation.
Which one?
Because I think this was the old one. So I apologize, guys. One moment. Let me switch it real quick. All right. Okay, there you go. Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay, sorry about that.
All right, we're back in action. Okay, so a secured compounded account, what is it? So a secured compounded account is what is known as a 7702 plan or an IUL. Essentially what it is, it's a life insurance policy that has a savings vehicle attached to it. So you're kind of getting that 2-in-1, okay? Some of you may have heard of that, some of you may have not, so we'll go a little more into depth with that. A lot of the benefits that come with it are tax-free withdrawals in the later years, right? So you guys know with the 401k, I'll go more into that, but with the 401k, you can make withdrawals later on. This, you can do the same thing. The only difference is that they are tax-free withdrawals, okay? There's no taxes on the death benefit. So God forbid something were to happen and, you know, you do have that policy, then your family gets paid out that death benefit and there's no taxes to be paid on that. So again, lowering your tax liability. Then it's permanent life insurance. There's different various investment strategies that you can use with these and you lock in your gains. So on the last call, we talked about 3 different ways that your money can grow, right? It was the fixed, it was the variable, and the index. So with these, they are indexed. So you do lock in those gains kind of going up a staircase. And every year you just lock in those gains and you never lose your money, okay? Now, 401k. I'm sure all of you guys have heard about a 401k, what it is. Some of you may currently have one or have an old one, right? So a 401k, what it is, it's an employer sponsored retirement account offered to employees as part of the company's benefit program, right? So this is offered as kind of like an incentive almost, you know, saying, hey, these are part of our benefits. This is your retirement, blah, blah, blah. Typically they all bring you in a room and then they're like, you know, pick this or this and then be on your way, right? So they don't really tell you too many things about that. And that's why I wanted to kind of go over the differences is with the 401k, taxes are deferred on the back end. And what that does is that gives you less control over how much you pay in taxes, right? So we talked a little bit about it, but you guys remember how I was bringing up the farmer and the seeds, right? So last call, we talked about the farmer and the seeds, and which one would you choose? Paying taxes on the seeds up front or paying taxes on the big old crop that it grows into? Well, 401k works the same way that it would with a farmer in paying all the taxes on that big crop. They're deferred to the back end. And the thing is that we don't know what taxes are going to be in the next 20 to 30 years. So the 401k, you're putting your money into something where you don't know what the tax rate's going to be in 20 to 30 years. And you have to pay a big chunk of that to taxes. then there's fees involved. So not only are you having to pay a lot in taxes, there's fees for you just to access your money, right? If you're before age 59 and a half and you have a family emergency, just for you to even access your money, you have to pay a 10% early withdrawal fee. So you don't even get to, pick and go and, pull from it. You have to worry about all these different things. And on top of that, there's limited investment strategies. So some of you guys may not know, but they're really only invested into ETFs and mutual funds because, you put your money in your 401k, then that's invested into a strategy, right? And that's how your money grows. So the problem with that is with those only two options is that it only gives you two options. So if those don't do well, well, then your 401k doesn't do well either. And the biggest thing is that your money, it's tied to the market. So what that means is that you have that increasing risk of loss. A lot of you guys were around for 2008, right? The big, crash. Well, a lot of people's 401ks, since they're invested in the market did poorly. They lost a lot of money in their retirement accounts. So now I'm going to pass it over to Wulf to kind of show you guys. He drew this little thing, so he's very artistic, but he's going to go over a little more differences of the 401k and that 7702 plan or secured compounded account. Okay.
All right, guys. So pardon me if you guys do not like my drawing style. Okay. I did take some art classes back when I was a little kid, so I try to make it as good as possible. But by the way, quick question. Does anybody know when the 401k came out? Like just by show of hands, or if you guys can just type it in the chat, or you guys can unmute yourself too, because I don't even know how to access the chat. But do you guys know when the 401k came out? Nobody? Okay.
No idea.
All right. So the 401k actually came out in 1978. So that's when the actual legislation got passed. And this was made by Ted Benna. If you guys don't know who Ted Benna is, it's pretty much like the father of the 401k. And the main reason why a 401k was brought up was basically to cut down the taxes for corporations. It was kind of it was made kind of to be like a profit sharing plan between the IRS and a corporation. So inherently, it was very virtually made against the person that is contributing, like the employee, right? So when we're looking at how a 401k performs over time, I actually drew this graph just so you guys can see, because when you're young, 401ks usually tend to be pretty aggressive. If you're going to a company and you started working and when you're in your early 20s and you have a long time for your 401k to grow, obviously you're going to put it into a more aggressive bracket because you can afford those losses. You can afford that risk. So that's why they're a little bit more aggressive and volatile at first. But the problem happens is that as time goes by, because you're getting to the age of retirement and because history has proven us that, the dot-com crash between 97 and 2001, and then it was the housing market crash in 2008, that has proven us that as we're getting older to retirement age, we have to be more conservative with our retirement plans, because if we're not and we get too risky, we can blow up our entire account. So what happens is at that point, the investment managers or even yourself, you can go down and to become a little bit more of a conservative portfolio. So the problem is that while you were earning big interest in the early years, now you're earning subpar, basically mainly keeping up with inflation interest and the retirement years, but also you're paying fees too. So therefore, that's why the graph ends up going down a little bit more. So therefore, it's providing very poor retirement income. With the 7702 plan, the main difference that I was able to actually see when it comes to these kind of plans is that they're very conservative in the beginning years, because obviously because it's an insurance contract, there is cost of insurance attached to it. So therefore, the beginning years is when the policy is suffering the most, because you're covering those costs in the front end. So that's why you're not seeing the cash value compound that fast. But then after those first beginning years, because of the secure compounded effect and you're not losing any money, the account keeps growing and growing and growing. And therefore, it provides 3 to 5 to 10 times more retirement income than any of these 401ks can actually do. Any questions so far on this? Or I hope this actually you guys understood a little bit better. And actually, if you do have questions, please write them down, because I know we're kind of short on time. So let's see. So now Alex is going to explain a little bit more on how to use, or why would somebody use the secure compounded accounts?
All right, guys, I'm back. All right, so different ways that an individual would use that secured compounded account versus like, the 7702 plan. You have your individual and you have your business owner, right? So as an individual, the reasons that you would use this or take advantage of it would be for tax reduction, right? Retirement planning, because this is different than the 401k. This is that different strategy. Estate establishment, college funds. You guys have little ones, right? You can actually set this up to where you can, build it for your kids' future and their college. Life's emergencies. That's the biggest one that I see, right? So we never know when those unforeseen expenses are going to come around, or when, something's going to pop up and you need to access, some emergency funds. Well, having one of these secured compounded accounts, you're able to make those tax-free withdrawals and take care of those life emergencies. Real estate. That's another one, right? You guys are in that. So that's the biggest thing, is that an individual can use this, if you build it properly, to even purchase real estate in the later years. And it helps with working capital. Let's say that, you want to get into other business adventures and things of that as an individual, right? You want to, take some of that and invest it into your own startup. You can do that. That's why it's called working capital. Then let's say you are a business owner, right? You can use this for executive bonus plans, positive arbitrage, which Wulf will go over here very shortly. You can use it to give yourself a loan for large purchases, right? Let's say that you are a business owner and you want to purchase like a duplex or something like that. Well, instead of getting a loan from another company, why don't you just loan it to yourself and you pay yourself back, or you be in charge of it, right? There's key man insurance. And then the biggest one, real estate. Like I said, you want to go buy a duplex. You want to go buy these different things. You want to invest into that. As a business owner and an individual, you can use these strategies and these accounts in order to do that, as long as you set it up properly. So I talked a little bit about positive arbitrage, or, briefly mentioned it. Wulf is going to show you and break it down how you can use it, how it's beneficial, how to let your dollar work for you twice. And yeah, so here you go.
Thanks, Alex. All right, guys. So now here's the meat and potatoes. I get super excited when it comes to this, to be honest. And I get very annoying with all my coworkers because I can't stop talking about positive arbitrage. But I just want to know, can you guys show me a thumbs up if you guys have ever heard of the word positive arbitrage? Okay, just a few hands. All right, cool. So most of you guys probably haven't heard of the word positive arbitrage, but essentially, is the idea of being able to use the same dollar twice. Now, how that works is, most people, when they hear the word life insurance, they think about just a death benefit. They don't really think about what it does for them besides of what it is, right? And this is why we have to switch our mindset on how these contracts work, because it's essentially what it is. It's a max funded permanent insurance contracts. Back in the day, before index universal life policies came out, people used to use positive arbitrage or infinite banking through whole life policies. For example, I don't know if you guys know Nelson Nash. He wrote a book. The thing is called How to Become Your Own Banker. Now, the problem with the whole life policies is that because of different type of regulation and because of the performances with the dividends within those policies were so low that now they become a little bit obsolete. That's why I now more than ever tell people most of the time that if they want to use infinite banking or they want to build a family bank, that they should do it through a properly structured max funded index universal life contract. But the way that those work is that it allows the policy owner to have liquidity of those assets while they're still capturing the interest, which I'll explain within this illustration. So, and essentially the reason why insurance companies are able to do this is because they're using your own cash value as collateral. And obviously once you pull out those indexing or participation loans, they're also charging you an interest fee. Now, this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky, because you have to make sure that you pick the right strategies that are going to overperform those interest charges. So let's dive into it a little bit better. So please, guys, take notes on this, because I think that if people understand more on how positive arbitrage works, we're going to be able to be in more control of our own money rather than having the banks control our money. So how does positive arbitrage? So let's just say, for example, I'm gonna pick on one of you guys. Let's see. I can't even see the names on this. Okay, so you know what, Torre, I'm gonna pick on you. So let's just say you had $1 million in your cash value and then you were able to access all that money. And let's just say you found a strip mall that you wanted to purchase because you wanted to remodel it, and you wanted to rent it out to different businesses and start making money that way, right? All you had to do is you could either call the insurance company, or you could just submit a form to be able to withdraw that $1 million, and they would pretty much give you a check for $1 million. Now, the way you would do that is through a participation loan or an indexing loan, like I said. The most average cost on these participation loans, depending on the insurance company, is going to be about 4%. So you could write a $40,000 check, or because you're also getting a rate of return on an average at about 7%, you can let the insurance company take it out of the interest that they're already crediting you. Therefore, you would be earning $70,000 on that $1 million that you have in there. But because you're already paying that 4% out of that interest, you're pretty much netting 3%. So keep this in mind, guys, because sometimes I lose people on this, but you pulled out $1 million as a loan. They're paying you 3% to pull out this loan. And now you turn back around and you're investing this $1 million into this long-term real estate deal that, for example, I don't know much about how, what are the returns on real estate, but I've heard it's between 12 to 24%. So I just went ahead and grabbed the 24%. So if you make it a good deal and you do have a return of 24% on that $1 million, you made $240,000 plus the $30,000 that you made on that 3% that you netted after the cost of that loan. So therefore, at the end of that year, not only the insurance company paid you to pull out a loan, but you also made profits on that investment that you already planned to do it. And guys, the only vehicle that allows people to be able to do positive arbitrage is a max funded permanent insurance contract. No 401k is going to be able to do that. No IRA is going to be able to do that. No mutual fund is going to be able to do that. Now, here, just so that way you guys can see that I'm not just blowing smoke on returns. These are actual transactions, or these are actual statements from clients, not my clients, but some of our mentors' clients, high net worth clients. So for example, this right here, it literally shows matured segments as of March 15th of 2021. It shows that the average segment balance was 1.2 million. Now, this policy, this index strategy was structured in a way that you would get a 2.5%, so a 2.5 multiplier, which means that whatever you get gets multiplied by 2.5 times. So therefore, at the end, this person ended up getting about $1.8 million in their account. So sorry, the segment index interest credit was $748,000 plus the multiplier, which I believe is this amount, I think. So bottom line is the return that that client got was about 61%, and that's all tax-free interest that got credited to his account. So by the end of that year, that person had $3 million in their index universal life contract. Now, this right here at the bottom, these are some of the strategies from one of the insurance companies that we're able to work with. So for example, as you can see, there's different types of strategies. If you want to go for a little bit more conservative strategy, so that way you're reducing the cost and that way you can get some average returns, you'll be able to see that there's 3 main strategies that have, for example, like very low caps. So again, this is for somebody that's just looking to cruise along. And then there's other strategies that are uncapped. The problem with the uncapped strategies is they're mostly, they mostly have a spread rate, which means that if, for example, they have a 7.5% spread, means that whatever you're getting from that index, the insurance company is going to keep the first 7.5%. So now, one of the strategies that I like to put on, to be honest, with most of my clients is on this high cap index strategies. A lot of them do have some costs. It's a 1% cost, but if you really look at the historical average, you'll be able to see that they're at about 8.5% and 8.02. And they have, for example, like a 20% cap, which means that not only you have that 0% floor, which means that you can't lose money, but you're capturing everything from 0 to 20%. So they become very diversified at that point. Now, Alex is going to go over these other 2
All right, what's up, guys? So yes, these are just a few different strategies that we have and that we've seen. Okay, so this is a completely separate strategy, and you can see that in March, April, and May of this year, the actual crediting rate that was applied to this person's account averaged about 41, 42%, right? That's huge. That you know, most places can't tell you that they can guarantee you that. I don't know any place with a 401k that has a strategy that can do that, right? And you can see here where it's highlighted that the global index, it's a type of strategy that you can use. It's showing you here that over a 65-year period, this strategy has averaged between 8 to 10.7% over a 65-year period. That's huge. Like I said, not many strategies and or companies can show you these things and actually break it down to where this is credible, right? They can't show you that, hey, for the last 50 plus years, these are our numbers, right? They may have like one year where it's 25%, you know what I mean? And then like 10 years later, they have another one that's like 22. But the thing is that when you take the averages, they can't show you sustainable ones. And that's the biggest thing, is that when it comes to your money, you want sustainable averages that are going to perform well. And this is just one of the strategies that does very well.
All right, guys. So now this is also one of the reasons why we wanted to have this call, is because a lot of people wanted to know exactly like the actual numbers and how it would work, and pretty much like breaking it down to where you guys can actually see how you could use this, right? So we just pretty much grabbed somebody that we grabbed two different examples. Somebody that's like in the middle income class, that they're just stocking away money and they just want to be able to have a comfortable retirement. And then on the next slide, you guys are going to be able to see somebody that's more of like a real estate investor, or just like an investor in general. It doesn't have to be real estate, but somebody that just has a lot of money to dish out and they just wanted to be able to use it for positive arbitrage. But the biggest bullet points on this is I just grabbed a 27-year-old male that's contributing about $6,000 a year for 38 years. And the reason why I picked 6,000 is because I wanted to compare it to what a Roth IRA would do. So the reason why I said a Roth IRA is because that's usually it's a tax-free vehicle, and I don't like to invest in things that are not tax-free. So that's why essentially I just grabbed that pretty much that benchmark number. Now, over the course of 38 years, you guys are going to be able to see that the total amount contributed into this secure compounded account was about $228,000. So at the end of age 65, you'll be able to see that this person in their cash value has about $760,000. Now, it's very safe to assume that this is a very conservative illustration. Like I said, that's at about a 7% illustrated, as you guys can see here at the top. But historically, we've seen that it does just a little bit better. Now, I also here, I don't know if you guys can see, at year 55, if you guys can follow me, I built this illustration to the point that this person pulled out a loan of $50,000, an indexing loan, so they can use it for whatever investment that person wanted to do. The reason why I do that is because when I talk to most of my clients, I want to be able to set up a pathway for them to be able to retire a little bit earlier, whether it's 5, 10 years. If I can help them be able to use some of their own capital to be able to retire earlier, I'm definitely going to be able to help them to do that. So bottom line is, this person was able to use $50,000 in liquid cash. That's also going to be able to use and earn positive arbitrage. But also at the end, at year 65, when this person starts to pull retirement income, is going to be able to get $57,000 a year of tax-free income all the way until age 90. So when it's all said and done, here's where you guys can see that by age 90, this person has already collected about $1.48 million in tax-free income. And not only just that, but if this person were to pass away at age 101, this person would have about $400,000 of death benefits. So not only this person pulled out $1.48 million in tax-free income, they also used $50,000 in liquid assets to be able to purchase whatever investment they had. And when they pass away, it blossomed to $400,000. Guys, I hope you guys can see the amazing features that one of these secure compounded accounts has. Now, let me explain also the way that some investors use this, because again, you don't have to fund it for 38 years. You don't have to put 6,000. You don't have to put 10. You can literally build it however you want. So let's just say this time I made a typo. It should have been a 29-year-old female, because that's the way I build this. So I apologize for that. But I grabbed a 29-year-old female. Let's just say somebody killed, like one of you girls, like you guys killed it. You know, you guys are making a lot of money in real estate, and now you guys are wanting to put about $100,000 a year just for 10 years, excuse me, into one of these secure compounded accounts, right? Because you can do that, as opposed to any other account that would be pretty much like eating away at the cash value or like at the account value. With these ones, you can fund it for an X amount of time and then let the secure compounding do its work. So, for example, I put it that at age 33, this woman pulled out $100,000 of that participation loan to be able to invest into an investment project. And then let's just say that at age 35, she did the same. And then age 38, she did the same. And then at age 40, she pulled out $250,000. So total money that she pulled out, liquid, was about $550,000. And the money that she stacked in there was about $1 million. So not only she stacked about $1 million, but she also used $550,000 of that same million for other investments. So by the time she turns 65, and guys, keep in mind, she doesn't touch this anymore, and then she just lets it ride. By the time she turns 65, she's gonna have about almost $5.5 million in cash value at age 65. Now, one of the most common questions is, okay, so let's just say I wanted to pull everything out at that point. Well, guess what, guys? She could pull out $5.5 million of that account at age 65. Now, in my opinion, I think that at that point, it would make more sense to just get income for life. And that's why I pretty much build it in a way that she would get about $418,000 a year all the way until age 90. So guys, $400,000 a year in income at retirement age. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think that I could definitely live very comfortably. Kenyatta, you saw me in Cabo. I think with $400,000 a year, I think I could live in Cabo, right, for a few years. So the bottom line is, by age 90, this woman was able to accumulate about $11 million in tax-free income. Guys, this is what I tell most people. I think everybody should diversify. For sure, do not do only this, right? I mean, whatever you guys want to do, by all means, right? And I tell most people that they have to diversify, but I think that this vehicle right here allows for other investments simply because of the liquidity, the tax-free options, and then secure compounding. And guys, keep one more thing. At age 101, after having pulled $11 million in tax-free income, after having used almost like over $500,000 in participation loans, when she passes away at 101, her family is going to receive an immediate estate of $3.5 million. That's going to go directly to their family after she already got all that extra money. And all she contributed was $1 million in the early years. Hope I blew you guys' mind off.
You did.
Now,
Yeah, that's pretty cray-cray.
let's open it up for the floor, guys. If you guys have any questions, we're an open book. I hope you have a little bit more time this time.
You got plenty of time now.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
So most companies only offer the 401k plans. Why don't they offer the 7702? Why don't they give that an option? Is it because they don't have a big enough tax write-off because of those programs, and it's all about them instead of their employees? Why is that?
Yeah, so essentially you nail it. Pretty much most people, most companies. So because back in the 70s, like in 1978, the tax rate around that time was about 80%. So corporations were trying to find any way that they could pay as little taxes as possible. So they went in cahoots with the IRS. And again, I know it sounds pretty bad, but it is what happened. So they went pretty much in a partnership with the IRS, and they kind of called it, I forgot, there was a name of it that they were going to call it, but they had to change it because it didn't sound very appealing to the people. But essentially, they got accustomed to it and they got so many tax write-offs for all these past 20, 30 years that at that point it's become so hard and so costly for them to switch to those other plans. However, I will say this, you can use a 7702 plan as a match program as a company and still get tax write-offs. Me and Kenyatta and Torre and I and Alex, we were actually talking about this on how to be able to provide those kind of retirement plans for other employees. However, like I said, it's a very specific way to do it, and you have to do it the right way. But most corporations are not going to go through the hassle of switching these thousands of 401k plans. For example, I used to work at Yelp before I went full time on here in finances. And I remember Yelp at the time had, I think, like 5,000 employees or something like that. And even if like, let's just say 70% of those employees had it, that's what, 3,000-4,000 employees. Like the cost of being able to move those over, it would be too expensive. And not only just that, but you have to realize that those 401k plans, a lot of those people are not 59 and a half. So right now we're kind of caught in a catch 22, because if they cash out, guess what? They get hit with penalties and taxes. You know what I mean? And then corporations are going to have to pay a lot of money to be able to switch those plans. That's why people, you know what they say is like, I'd rather just stick with what I know than just try to get into something new.
So, and one of the things too with it is, I think he touched over it, but the 401ks, you know, whatever a company matches you, that is their tax write-off, right? Because that's what they're giving you. That's what they're matching. So if they, you know, let's say that they, at the end of the year, they contribute and match a total of $1 million. Well, then now they just got $1 million, you know, tax write-off, right? So that's the main reason that it was created, is so that they could lower their liability and taxes. And the biggest reason, or one of the biggest reasons too, that corporations probably don't offer that is you have to be licensed, right? So insurance is highly regulated. Since it is through an insurance product, you do have to be licensed. And I guarantee you that that's just another obstacle they don't want to go through. You know what I mean? But those are the two biggest reasons why.
Okay, I have two questions. You talk about 401k, but there's also 457.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you linking those together? I mean, the same with the 401k is 457.
Yeah. So 401ks, I mean, that's just, I would say the majority of people probably have a 401k, right? So 457, that's just a separate tax code for essentially the same account. They have their differences, but in the big scheme of things, yes, they are the same.
457s, 403s, TSPs, 401as, SEPs, like you name it. Anything that is sponsored is like anything that's like a defined benefits program or this defined benefits plan. It's going to work the same exact way. The main differences are how the contributions are, what's the liquidity, what are the asset classes that you can invest in, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's just 401k happens to be for the average person that works in a regular job, 9 to 5. Yeah.
Okay. And my other question is there an age limit to start paying in? I mean, like if I wanted to sign up my granddaughter or something like that, like I've got savings accounts and CDs and things for her. I want her, you know, I'd like to put her money in something. I'd like to get it into like one or two places as opposed to several accounts all over.
Yeah. I think, yeah, so definitely I would look at different options for sure. But I think that one of the best things that, for example, I did for my brother when he was back in middle school. Oh my God, time flies so fast. But essentially I put him into it's what is called a juvenile index universal life contract. So essentially it's pretty much the same concept. One of the biggest perks on that is because it's at their attained age. So how old is your granddaughter?
13.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So because she's going to be 13, because she's 13, it's going to be at her attained age. So the cost of insurance for her is going to be so low that you're going to be able to stack a lot more money into one of those accounts for her. So for example, by the time she turns, let's just say 21 or 25, after she gets out of high school or out of community college, she can start using that money for a car, for college, for even a business. It doesn't matter. Because there are some plans like the 529s. Those are the college funds that essentially are
Mhm.
just built for college. So you can only
Mhm.
use it for college. And if you
Mhm.
don't, then you get tax penalties on that. So, but
Mhm.
But to answer your actual question, they I believe even if they're under a year old, you can still have. That's why it's a juvenile.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter the age essentially.
correct.
Okay, juvenile universal
No, it's going to be a juvenile index universal life contract.
index. And-
Yeah, because there is also a universal life policy, and you guys have to watch out with those because usually are not built the right way and they end up imploding in themselves. And that's the reason why Dave Ramsey talks so bad about them, because he doesn't know that things have changed a little bit. So, but yeah, stay away from regular universal life. If you guys are gonna get it, you have to make sure it's an indexed universal life, and it has to be built the right way.
Hey,
So how would I know if it was built right?
You would talk to one of us.
that's right.
Okay, all right.
Boom.
Hey, Wolf, does that rate ever go up if she gets in at 13 years old? Is that a locked rate in it there?
Correct. That's for
Yes.
life.
Wow.
Because you're rated at your age essentially. So somebody that is 13 will have a different rate of somebody that is 2 years older or even 2 years younger, right? So a lot of it does have to do with your age.
That's right.
Got it.
Yeah. And the best part is that no matter what type of health conditions you have in the future, they can never drop you. And a lot of these policies come with living benefits attached to it, meaning like chronic, critical, and terminal illness too. So if they ever needed to use those for medical bills, they'll be able to use that as well too, and it wouldn't really affect their cash value. It would mainly just leave their death benefit. But yeah, they're locked in at the age that you get it.
Oh.
That's great.
Okay, Doc, I'm in Michigan, so you could still help me?
That's right. All we got to do is just make sure that we're all our licenses and certifications get transferred to Michigan, which probably takes like a week at the most. And we would do a Zoom call like this.
Okay, but she lives in Florida.
Um,
So would we need to do it where she lives? How would we do that? Because I could get my son or my or her mother.
From my understanding, it shouldn't be a problem because you are what's called the payer. Like if you're the one that is contributing to it, then it's only in accordance to where you were located.
Where I'm looking. Okay.
some cases differently, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Wolf and Alex, can you put your contact info in the chat?
Yep.
For everybody, and your email,
Yes,
so
sir.
everybody can get in touch with you.
Yes, and also, by the way, I'll be sending out that feedback sheet again. I know a few of you guys already filled it out. If you guys already filled it out, don't do it again, obviously. But the ones that didn't, if you guys want to fill that feedback sheet, please do so, because we'll be reaching out again. And if you guys wanted to have a more like a one-on-one type of situation and talk about your specific scenario, we can always do that as well. So hold on, let me put this information here. Alex, what's your number? Any more questions? I was expecting to get grilled today.
I was too.
I just love asking questions. So,
Talene, you got any questions?
Yeah, I actually did have a few questions. I was trying to get the phone number down first, though.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, everyone. I do apologize that I'm late. My show ran over a little bit longer, but I came in midstream. I am a little bit familiar with this product because my husband is an insurance agent by trade and a broker, and I've been at a couple of these presentations before. But I think the thing that I love about these kind of products is the fact that you can dump a lot of money into it at one time. Is there a max limit though, as far as how much you can put in at one time? I know you gave us the example of $100,000 with the last example that you showed. Is there a minimum and is there a maximum?
there is so that's a great question. I love that you asked that. So to answer your question, yes, there are limits, but it's based on how you build it. So for example, let's just say you wanted to put $1 million a year. right? Only thing that we would have to do is just build it in a way that you can put up to $1 million a year into that policy. And at that point, there would be minimum. So this is what I tell most of the time is like, whenever me and Alex sit down across the table with a client, we usually tell them is like, hey, make sure that the maximum that you're putting in there is something that you can actually afford. Don't just overshoot it, because you just want to make sure that you can lock it in, because if something does happen to you and then you end up you end up falling short of that number, right? Let's just say somebody that's making like $5,000 a month and they put their maximums at $10,000 a month, right? If they fall short for whatever reason, because they're not making as much, at that point, that policy is going to work against them, because there are certain minimums that you're going to have to be able to contribute before the policy lapses. The only way that these policies work is if the amount that you're putting in is the maximum that you can afford to put in. But other than that, you can put, you can build it to put like $1 million, $2 million, whatever.
So let me ask you this. So once you get the set price or the set, I guess, I don't know, I guess how you pay the installments, if it's coming out monthly, if it's coming out weekly, quarterly, I guess it just depends on how you set it up. But if that's the case, say, okay, I'm just going to put in, I don't know, 10,000 a year or 5,000 a year. Can you break it out where you're paying that in monthly, or is that a one-time payment a year, like you're putting it in a savings account and you do it all at once? How does that work?
You can do either way. So let's say that, you got a bonus check every year for $10,000, right? You can take that and do an annual, payment. You can do quarterly. You can do typically do quarterly, semi-annually, annually, and then monthly. So those are the 4 different ways that you can do it.
Okay.
Yeah. There are some scenarios where you can build it to where, let's say that you did have $100,000, right? And you wanted to put it into one of these things, you can do that. You just have to build it a certain way.
Yeah, I had just to give you guys an example, I had a client that, for example, her husband passed away, and she left aside about $500,000 in a death benefit because he had a life insurance policy. And we rolled over about $350 into an annuity. That's pretty much just going to be, it's just going to grow for like 7-10 years until her retirement age, and then she's going to get income for life. But she wanted to put about $70,000 of that into an index universal life contract or a secure compound account. But she wanted to do just like a one-time payment. Problem is, if you do a one-time payment or like a single payment premium, the cost of insurance is going to shoot up to the roof. So the way that I built it is in a way that $70,000 went into a premium deposit account, which is like a fixed account. Imagine if you had a bank CD that's giving you a simple 2%, right? But you don't have to worry about paying taxes on that. Okay. And every single year it's going to pull $14,000, put it into the actual index account. That way you mitigate and you minimize the cost of insurance, and then you maximize the returns on that. So if you had $1 million or like 500,000, 100,000, whatever the case may be, and you just want to be able to structure it in a way that you put it once and then you let it grow, you can also do that.
Now my last question, because I don't want to be the question hog, because I can ask questions.
We love it. We love it. Go all night.
My last question to you would be, okay, for instance, if you have someone that has quite a bit of property, maybe 4 or 5 properties, they want to sell them all, take the cash and put it into an account like this, say it's maybe $500,000, right? And they're already retired. They're already in retirement age. Can they immediately start pulling from that and receiving monthly from that, or it has to grow for several years first before they can start pulling from it? How would that work? Because they're already like 64.
So, I mean, this is just kind of my opinion on that. They could, don't get me wrong, they could, but would it be beneficial for them? Probably not, right? There's other strategies or other things like an annuity that you can put that into and start receiving income. Because the thing is with the secured compounded account, you know, part of what you're paying into is for that cost of insurance. For somebody that's in their 60s, well, a large amount of what they're, you know, paying for is going to be that cost of insurance, right? So if that's the case, I wouldn't necessarily do this product. To answer your question, yes, you could, but
Okay.
I wouldn't, because it's not going to be as beneficial.
Okay, so you would recommend an annuity, and then they draw monthly off of that particular annuity.
Then again, it all depends also on which companies too, because like we have seen some situations where people were like in their early 60s and they did do a strategic rollout into a secure compound account, and it has worked for them. So it's all a case by case scenario. The person has to be extremely healthy, and again, this is why most people won't do this kind of stuff, is because it cuts our commissions by about 90%. So the commissions for the agent has to be cut a lot to be able to make sure that this makes sense. But in some situations, you could do it, but as Alex said very well, it's not going to make a lot of sense for somebody at that age. So the best way to do it is, like he said, a fixed index annuity would work, or even a deferred annuity as well too. It would have to like talk more about the goals and kind of like what they're looking to achieve and how much and all that kind of stuff. And then we would have to run illustrations.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for answering the questions.
Good questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I learned a lot on those.
Yeah. Stop that. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah. So we're at the top of the hour, 7:02 now. So we want to be respectful.
Yes, sir.
And let's give a hand clap for Wulf and Alex. A wonderful presentation. We sure do thank you. And please spread the word, guys, and invite some people. We're going to be next week. We're going to have Gene Frederick on, all the way from Puerto Rico, and he's going to be doing a fabulous presentation. This is one of the board of directors of all of EXP. He earns about $98 million a year, and he's going to tell us how he did it and how you can do it too. A very good friend of mine. So we want to have this board filled up. Can we do that? Can everybody share this thing and get somebody on? Make them commit. Twist their arm, whatever you got to do. Handcuff them to the chair, but they don't want to miss this because this man is so dynamic. It's incredible. But
let us know, because even though we don't do real estate, we would love to be able to hear from a guy like that.
yeah, man, it's going to be great. So I'd love to have you guys on. And also go to the Team Goins YouTube channel. I just finished editing the part 1 of your discussion, and I promised to get on this part 2 really quick. I got a little sidetracked, but we're going to be putting up these videos on there, and you guys can share them out. And how about we get Alex and Wulf back on here again at a later date? And I know they have more to share. So, hey guys, thanks again. Did everybody get their numbers and stuff out of the chat room?
We'll put our social media too, just in case you guys want to follow us as well.
Sure.
Like we post a lot of content. Like I know myself, like sometimes
Highly recommend it.
annoying because I post so many reels about finances and all that stuff. But yours was Alex 27, right? Okay, cool.
I'm gonna put ours in there too then. Shameless plug.
That's right. That's right.
Ain't no shame in my game, baby.
I love it. You guys have been amazing. Thank you guys so much for your time, and we really appreciate you guys' ears and eyes onto this. And like Kenny said, you guys can help us, spread the word on this. We definitely want to make sure we can educate a lot of families on this.
Yeah, this is dynamic. It's life changing, and that's what Team Goins is all about, is making your lives better and helping you to be more professional and don't lose your money. This is retirement, man. You get to set up a whole plan.
Take
Not a lot
charge
of
of
real-
your money.
That's right. Not a lot of realtors can do that or know how to do it. So we got a partnership right here that's dynamic. And he didn't take us on his trip with us, so I don't know. I'm a little disappointed.
Hey man, you guys should have been there.
All right, you guys.
Can I say one more thing, Kenyatta, before we
Yep,
go?
yep,
I
go
want to
ahead.
thank the person that I invited, Michelle. I see that she's on here. I didn't know if she had made it or not. Thank you so much, Michelle, for coming on and taking the time to be on tonight.
Look at that. This lady isn't even signed up yet, and she's got a guest coming. I love that. That's how to do it right there. I told her she's dynamic. She's a good one. Got another good one.
Here you go.